So, first up this week is my pick of the week, and it is the first book I read, Batman, issue 16. This is just a fantastic book already. I think this is going to be one of the best issues I read this year. It is just a really great comic. How many more great things can we say about Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo? I don't know, but I'm going to try. This issue continues the whole death in the family, as you can see there, tie-in. And Joker's declared war on the Bat family. He's going to wipe them out. He says he knows their secret identities and he's going to wipe them all out. He's already kidnapped Alfred. This issue, Batman knows that he's using Arkham Asylum as his hiding place. So Batman goes to Arkham. Joker has set up all these elaborate traps, or these things, obstacles for Batman to get through. So most of the issue is dealing with Batman getting through all of these. You've got, like, it's not only like the physical battle that Batman's fighting, but there's also a bit of a mental battle, as you've got like the inner monologue of Batman sort of saying, don't let Joker get in your head, you know, trying to keep himself in the game. So there's a nice psychological battle going on between Joker and Batman, as well as like the physical, having to overcome these obstacles. The end of the issue, sort of Batman gets to this throne room where Joker has got these other villains. You've got Two-Face, the Riddler, Penguin, but you've also got these other people dressed up like the Justice League, and the Joker is going to sort of make them get electrocuted one by one. Batman tries to stop Joker, but he brings the gate down. Batman's like, oh, that's fine, you know, you've locked yourselves in, I'm going to get the police and just let them take you. And Joker's like, no, look at the mirror. And he's got this TV, and you've got the TV sort of split, and you've got Batgirl, you've got Red Hood, and you've got Red Robin, you've got Nightwing, all where Joker has defeated them. And he's like, if you don't do as I tell you, and sit on your throne, then you'll never see those people again, and for the rest of your life you'll wonder what happened to them. So Batman's got this really difficult decision to make, and Joker's like using it to illustrate how they weaken him. That if Batman hadn't had this Bat family, Batman would have been able to defeat the Joker. Because Joker got this leverage over him, because he's got his family, it makes Batman weak, and sort of Joker feels by default that he's won the argument, but Batman's still got the difficult choice. What does he do? And that sort of leads us to the end of the issue. We've then got a lovely little backup story that's co-written, that Snyder co-writes with James Tynion IV, where it sort of deals with the aftermath of this issue and the four villains that we see, Joker, Two-Face, Riddler and Penguin, which is a really great scene. I really like the way they've used those backup articles or backup features, because it really adds a lot to the main story, which I think is the main aim. As always, Snyder just does a brilliant job with this issue. I loved it. It was the first comic book I read, then I reread it, so it was like the first and the last that I read, and it just remained head and shoulders above everything else. It was just an exceptional piece of writing and an exceptional piece of art, because, you know, Snyder does a great job with the Joker. He's the scariest villain I have ever read. I've been reading comics for about 30 years, and I've never had a villain that terrifies me like this Joker does. I would not like to meet this Joker. He's pretty screwed up. But Snyder's writing is perfectly complemented by Capullo's art. It is fantastic, and he captures that creepiness in the Joker that the writing captures. And like this issue, what I loved, you had some of the pages, you had these little flies fluttering around Joker, like either the mask he's wearing, because it's his skin, is rotting and attracting flies, or the skin underneath is rotting and attracting flies. But I like that touch. Even like some of the panels that were like, you weren't right up close with the Joker, you could still see these little flies, which I kind of like that touch as well. I'll show you a bit of the art. As always, I don't know how great the light is in here, but it is a great looking book as well. Some really great pages here. Probably my favourite page of the issue is this, when Batman gets to the throne room at the end. But yeah, all in all, a really great book. My pick of the week and a definite thumbs up. Next up we have issue 6 of All New X-Men, and another great book and another great issue. We're kicking off a new arc in this one, and it's really dealing with a lot more with our original X-Men's reactions to being in the future. Of course, if you've not been reading this book, the basic premise of the book is that the original X-Men have been brought to the present, and they've chose to stay here to try and help Xavier's dream become a reality. So Kitty Pryde, who we see on the cover here, she's kind of looking after them. This issue we see Jean Grey, who's struggling because she's suddenly become a telepath and she doesn't know how to block out all the voices or how to control this power. So Kitty is trying to show her and help her how to use this. Then you've got Scott, who Cyclops, who was 2 days. He says it himself in here. 2 days ago, he was leader of the X-Men. Now everybody looks at him not for who he is, but for who he will become, and he's having real trouble dealing with that. So we get to see him, how he deals with that in this issue. And we also see Angel, who doesn't want to be in this mad future. He wants to go back to the past. He doesn't want to know anything about the future. Plus, to him, there's a bigger mystery. He knows what's happened to Jean. He's seen Iceman, he's seen Beast, he's seen the future Cyclops. But where's him? Where is he? Nobody's mentioned that he's dead. But he hasn't seen himself either. So, so you deal with these 3 different things going on through the story. As always, what Bendis does best is character moments and his discussions, and that's what you got here. Loads of dialogue, loads of scenes between different characters, which work well, and really great. This issue we got a different artist, which I was a bit concerned about because I really liked Stuart Immonen's art on this book. But David Marquez does a great job filling in, and the art, remains really strong. There's this great panel here where she's hearing all these voices, which I really liked. And yeah, I enjoyed the art. I thought, all in all, I enjoyed the issue, and there's nothing really bad I can really say about it. It was just a really good issue, continues to build the story nicely, and it left me wanting more, which I think is a thing you should always do. And so I give All New X-Men a thumbs up. Next up is another one of my favourite books, and that is Saga, Chapter 9. We take a step out this month. Rather than dealing with our usual protagonists, Marco and Alana, we get an issue that deals with the will. And we get further introduced to Gwendolyn, who we met at the end of last issue. Gwendolyn has gone to find out why the will hasn't captured Marco and Alana, why he's not going to fulfill the job he was paid for. The will is still very much in mourning for the Stork, and Gwendolyn sort of helps him bring back things in perspective by letting him know that Prince Robot IV had been hired to do the same job that he's been hired, but he's been hired by the opposite side. So if he finds Marco and Alana, chances are he'll find Prince Robot, and he'll be able to avenge the death of the Stork. The will then is like, well, okay, but I need an advance. He's still thinking he wants to save that slave girl from Sextillion, the sex planet. So Gwendolyn helps him get the slave girl's freedom, and sort of through the issue and through this we get to learn a little bit about who Gwendolyn is. And I liked this because the way she was introduced last issue, you thought, she's going to be this really bad, wicked person. But she's not, she's just somebody who was hurt in love, and she's not this evil person. And I liked that, and it's going to be interesting down the road when we get the eventual confrontation between Alana, Marco, and Gwendolyn. But this issue is great. It was great to see the will and to see a bit more Lion Cat, as well as to be introduced to Gwendolyn. And it was a nice sort of detour in our journey. And it was again an really enjoyable issue. This book is just so good. I'm always, when I read it, I'm just totally immersed in this world. The art, as always, by Fiona Staples is fantastic. The amount of expression she gets in her art is brilliant. As always, you know, just a great read. I can't compliment this book enough. And there's plenty of there's plenty of twists and turns, as always. Just a fantastic read. I'm really enjoying this, and it's well worth picking up. Saga number 9 gets a thumbs up. Next up we have Daredevil issue 22. I've only been getting this book since issue 19, but already I'm hooked. It's just a fantastic read, and I'm going back, picking up the past back issues, because it's just been a fantastic run. And Daredevil's fast becoming one of my favourite characters in the Marvel Universe. This issue, Foggy, of course, told Kirsten that he felt that Matt, Daredevil, was going insane and was a threat. So she's got Spider-Man on the job, but she doesn't know that Spider-Man is now Dr. Octopus, who is inside Peter Parker's body. So Dr. Ock is going to take out the Superior Spider-Man, who is Doc Ock, is going to take out Daredevil permanently. So, you know, and what I liked about this confrontation was, you know, when somebody's acting differently or speaking differently, you don't always notice, because we're fooled by what we see. You know, if somebody's acting is like they are, but they're acting different, we don't think too much of it. Daredevil doesn't have all those physical cues to go on that will put us off. So he's like, this doesn't sound like Peter. This something's going on here. So they have this battle, and then Stiltman shows up. So they get sidetracked with dealing with Stiltman. And you know, I gotta admit, I got a soft spot for Stiltman. He's such a wacky, zany villain. It's like, what can he do? But I always enjoy seeing him in here. And he's had a bit of an upgrade, so that's really interesting. The end of the issue is great, as well as we delivered another shock. Just as we think we're going to get a happy ending, we get a shock and a twist. But it was fun. I enjoyed this. I think if I wasn't already picking up Superior Spider-Man, I don't know. I think this would make me curious about picking that up, which I think probably part of the idea. I think also it's just been a really good book. The art is great. The colour is great. The way that the palette that he uses really makes the red of Daredevil and of Spider-Man really stand out really well. So I think it's a great book all round. And Matt in the book is fallen on a bit of hard times, and the last thing he needs is a fight with Spider-Man. But you know, the art I just really like. I just really dig the cartoony style of the art, and yeah, all in all, it's just a really good book. I can't really say nothing bad about it, but yeah, definite worth checking out, and I give it a thumbs up. Next up is issue 16 of Frankenstein, Agent of Shade, and it is the final issue. This book is being cancelled, so no more Frankenstein. Boo! I've enjoyed this book, I really have, and it's been a great read. I'm sad to see it go. Was the last issue, did it go out on a howl or a whimper? Well, it was a bit of a mixed bag. The actual issue was really good. The story was really good. It's this story, this group who are going to release this plague that they can each conjure up within themselves, the separate parts of this plague, and they put them together, and then they're going to launch it on this town. So, you know, you've got this got agent from Homeland Security who's watching them. He's been watching them for 5 years, and just as he's about to sort of take them out, Frankenstein and his troop show up, and they sort of take out all the bad guys. And the story is done in a nice way, where it's told first through the agent's eyes and then through Frankenstein's eyes, and I kind of liked that kind of work. The art, as always, was fantastic. Pondicherry does a great job, as always, with the book. The only downer for me was it didn't feel like a final issue. There was no closure. I think one of the handicaps for this book was the fact that it was part of the whole Rotworld thing, but with it being cancelled, and we've got 2 months left of Rotworld going on until that story's concluded. So we don't know how the world got put back. Then you've got the question: is before that story, Frank had kind of like was on bad terms with Shade, and he was also in that Leviathan graveyard. So how did that? What happened with all that? How come here he's working once again for Shade? So it's very it's a bit confusing, it's a bit like there's not enough answers and there's not enough sort of things put to rest. Like this, is Frankenstein and Nina, do they get together? What's happening with those two? And this, it was looking like Frank was getting a bit of cold feet about his relationship with Nina. So there was things that were left dangling, and the way the story played out, it felt like the first issue of a new arc or a one-shot, because you could see the agent from Homeland Security becoming obsessed with trying to find out who Frankenstein and these monsters are and who they work for, and you could see that becoming a whole arc. So it very much feels more of like a start of something than the end of something, and that's the only complaint I've got. The actual issue is great. The art, as always, I enjoyed. It was a lovely little sort of story. You see there, you've got the guy from Homeland Security who can't believe sort of what he's seeing, and there's like no evidence of what's happened. So his bosses are like, so we've wasted 5 years on this. But there. But yeah, it was a disappointing for me conclusion. Though the issue was good and the art was good, and it was a fun read, and I think anybody could sort of pick it up and enjoy it. It just didn't feel like any closure. So, but even so, I think there was a lot more good than bad. So I give it a thumbs up. Next up, we have Superboy issue 16, and Hell on Earth crossover continues in this one. And I've got to say, this is I think the most I've enjoyed a Superboy issue yet. I did initially drop this book because I didn't like Teen Titans, and it was crossing over too much with Teen Titans. Plus, I never really quite got what was Superboy's powers. But this issue continues the Hell on Earth crossover, and is a really good issue. The Justice League and Superboy are trying to retake the Fortress of Solitude, which is now under the control of Hal and Supergirl. So they've split up into little teams to sort of, because Batman's got the plan, and they've split into teams to get inside, and things are going well, but then everything goes pear-shaped for the end of the issue. I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed the dialogue between Batman, Superboy, and Wonder Woman. I liked that. And that the way that Superboy is meeting these other heroes. I like kind of like the role Superman's taken on, this sort of big brother, mentor, protector kind of role over Superboy. I'm hoping to see that further developed when this series finishes, because I think that would be interesting. So yeah, all in all, I enjoyed this one. The art was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't fantastic. It was good art. And all in all, I enjoyed it. I still don't really have an understanding of Superboy's powers. He's got this tactile telekinesis or something, which I think if he touches things, he can make them blow up. But I still don't have a handle. But even Superboy in this issue says his powers have changed with this new suit, and I didn't have a handle on his original powers. But yeah, if you're enjoying this crossover, it's a good book, it's a good read, and hopefully they're going to keep taking Superboy down this direction when the story's finished. So So all in all, yeah, a good issue. Well worth checking out. Give it a thumbs up. Next up we have Batgirl, and it's another, as you can see, Death of the Family tie-in. It concludes the three-part story that's been a tie-in of the Death of the Family. As Batgirl, the Joker is blackmailing her into marrying him. He's got a bomb under the chair that her mother is sitting on, or tied to rather, and it's a nail bomb, and if it blows up she'll totally be killed. So she's got to go through with this sham wedding. But Joker's got this perfect plan so that he makes sure his wife doesn't run off. He's gonna, once they're married, he's gonna chop her arms and legs off with a chainsaw. So it's kind of a bit crazy at the beginning as they're going through the ceremony. Then Barbara's brother, James Gordon Jr., shows up, and he's a psychopath, the level, not quite the level of Joker, but he's still, you know, insane in the brain. So he sort of shows up and says that he's freed their mother, and sort of then, so Batgirl can go, you know, open season on the Joker. And for the first time, she's like, always in the past, she would always stop herself, she would never kill. But at the moment, she's just so, what Joker's put her through, and what he was planning to put her through, you know, I'd imagine a nightmare for somebody who'd been paralysed for 3 years, and then had got the use of their limbs again, and would be the thought of having to go back into that chair. And Joker was going to inflict that on her, and so she's not that impressed with the Joker, and she's going to kill him. And then there's sort of a twist in the tale, which I won't spoil, but the end really sets up Batman 17 up really well, and really looks like that's going to be something of an issue. Ed Benes is on art again, which I think he's doing a good job. I liked it. His Joker isn't probably as scary as Capullo's, but he still does a pretty good scary Joker in this. And some great action scenes with Batgirl. So yeah, all in all, it was a really good read. I really enjoyed this. I've not really got anything bad to say. Gail Simone's done a fantastic run on this book, and I'm just really enjoying it, and I have enjoyed it. It will be the last issue I'm picking up. Gail Simone was dropped from the book, so I was going to stop getting it. It wasn't so much that she was dropped; it was the way that they did it by email that I didn't like. But then she's gonna be gone for 2 issues. Then she's gonna come back, and they announced that afterwards. But the problem was, I dropped this book and allocated my money to another book, and so now now she's gonna come back, but that would mean I'd have to find the money for this book or drop a book to afford it. And I'm like, I've already allocated the money somewhere else, and it's like, nah, that's like messing me about. And I thought, DC, you should get your house in order and not make mistakes like this. So at the moment, this is the last issue I'm going to buy. Whether I stick to that or not, I don't know, because I've really enjoyed this book. I've loved the way Gail Simone has written Barbara Gordon, and I do still want to see what happens with her and her brother and her mom and everything. So yeah, there's a lot of loose ends I might come back to, but certainly at the moment my intention is that this is my last issue. Though in a way I'm glad this is, because this is a fantastic issue, the strongest Batgirl issue to date, and it's a fantastic Death of the Family tie-in, and really, really good book, and I really enjoyed this one, and I give it a thumbs up. Next we have Captain Marvel issue 9, and I gotta say, I love that cover. That has got to be my cover of the week. It is just a fantastic cover. The book is brilliant. I'm really enjoying this book now that I'm back on board. I've caught up with the issues that I missed, and it's been a great read. I love how Kelly Sue writes Captain Marvel. Sometimes when people write female characters and they want to make them strong, they make them lose something else. They make them lose their compassion. They have to be cold and hard. But what I like about the way Kelly Sue writes Captain Marvel and the way Gail Simone writes Batgirl is that, yeah, these are kick-ass women who will beat you up, but at the same time they've still got that compassion and that kindness within them. They don't have to be totally, hard people. They can still care, and I think that's the thing that I like about this book, is that you can see the true hero in Carol Danvers. This issue very much takes an approach to the book kind of similar to Hawkeye does, to that book Matt Fraction takes to Hawkeye, in that it's basically like a day in the life of Carol Danvers when she's not being an Avenger, when she's not being Captain Marvel. And sort of the day starts off and she's got all these appointments that she's got to do, and she sort of gets sidetracked as the day goes on, and it's a real interesting insight into who Carol Danvers is and into her life. And then the end of the issue is just a real... I was really sad. I enjoyed the book, but the ending was sad. But I really enjoyed the book though. The art is the only thing I can really criticise in this book, and it'd be unfair to say the art is bad. It's not. I liked the majority of the art, but the artist who works on this book, their style seems to be that the faces are very flat, and it seems to just, it is not so much that they're doing anything wrong. I think it's just a stylized kind of thing that I don't like. That's just not my preference, so I didn't like that. But all in all, the art is good, as you can see. Like I say, it's... But I'll get some better shots in a minute. You see there, you got the dinosaurs fighting, which is cool. But then you look down here at Captain Marvel's face. It just looked odd, and I'm not keen on that. But I can understand how some people might like that, because it's kind of this style. And like I say, there you've got like some good pictures. But if you look at Captain Marvel's face, you can see it just looks odd. But in saying that though, it was still a really good issue. I really enjoyed the format that she used, that all through it she had this whole memo thing of other appointments for the day that she used throughout the Mac comic. I really liked that, and I thought it was a nice way to tell a story. Introduced a lot of nice characters, and there's some nice moments in here as well. So yeah, all in all, it's worth picking up. It's a really good book. It deserves your support. The art wasn't totally to my taste, but to somebody else, they might love that style of art. But even so, Captain Marvel still gets a definite thumbs up. Next up, I have two back issues that I got this week to review. I have issue 6 of Red Hood and the Outlaws and issue 7. Starting off with issue 6, this is actually set before issue 1, and it shows the first meeting between Red Hood and Starfire. And it's a great issue. It really gives a lot more depth to both characters. We get to see some of Red Hood when he was Robin. We get to see Nightwing, flashback of Nightwing in his earlier outfit. We get to see Red Hood being Robin. We get to see him when he became Red Hood and went up against Batman. So we get a bit more of Red Hood's history, and we also get a bit of Starfire's history as well. And it's really interesting and really fascinating, and really fleshes out these two characters. As always, the artwork from Rockerford is beautiful. I don't feel he's the best artist for this book, not because his art is wrong, but his art is very beautiful. And I feel this book should have a slight edge to it, and I feel the art should sort of see that through the art. Kind of like Punisher was more of an edgier hero, and his book was very dark in tone. Even art-wise, you looked at it, you knew it was a dark book. And I kind of feel Red Hood would fall into that kind of category as well, and would benefit from that kind of art. But I can't criticise the art, really, because I do enjoy Kenneth Rockford. But I think he's a better fit now he's on Superman. As all in all, this was a really good issue. I would have been interested. I know when Red Hood first came out, there was a lot of hoopla, a lot of fuss about, oh, they've turned, they've turned Starfire into tits and ass. It's just exploitative. It's disgusting. And it would have been very interesting if they'd had this as issue 1, because it really fleshes out both characters a lot more. And I think probably would have got a lot of a different reaction from people. But all in all, a good read, and I give this one a thumbs up. As well as that, I also picked up issue number 7. Completed my run. I've got all the first 10 issues now of Red Hood and the Outlaws. So I was pleased with that. This issue features the return of Essence. She popped up in issue 1. She was the one who told Red Hood that the woman who his mentor, the woman who trained him, Duca, had been killed, and by the Untitled. At this issue, we get to find out a bit more about Red Hood and Essence history, how they knew each other. We also get to find out a little bit more about the people that trained Red Hood, about Duca, who Duca and Essence, and their link to the Untitled. All gets explained in this issue really well, and it really sets up this character for later on down the road, and it's a good issue. This issue carries on after issue 5, so we go back to the story that we were on, and it's a really good read, and the end really sort of sets up the future well of where this book's going to go, and it kind of also sets up Red Hood as a bit of a tragic figure that who feels he doesn't deserve happiness, and so yeah, but a good read. I enjoyed this one. Again, Rockford's art is just brilliant. He does draw such beautiful people, and yeah, I enjoyed this. This is a book that I've kind of dipped in and out of in the New 52, but it's one I think I might get back into. I picked up last week as an extra. I picked up issue 15, and I enjoyed it. You know, I really did. And I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. It was the Death of the Family tie-in. I managed to pick it up at a good price on eBay. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll have a look at that. And it was a good issue. And, you know, it sort of made me go back. And I've got the first 10 issues now. So I may slowly catch up with Red Hood and the Outlaws. And you may sneak its way back onto my pull list. Because it's a book I don't really hear many people talking about. But it is a good read. And the interesting thing as well, Scott Lobdell's announced he's leaving this book. And it's James Tynion IV who's going to take over, and I'm quite curious to see what Tynion does on this book. So yeah, all in all, I'd give this issue, or both issues, a thumbs up. Yeah, both of them were good reads, and I'll be checking this one out in the future.